Welcome to the Edge Insider Podcast.
Welcome back to the Edge Insider Podcast. I'm your host, Kellyanne Roberts, joined by Associate Head Coach Steve Marcus. Thanks for joining us here tonight.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Notice I said Associate Head Coach?
Yeah, it's an honor. It's an honor that you were finally able to recognize my official title. But we won't get into that. It's neither here nor there.
No, I had it wrong earlier this year, so my apologies. I remember you calling me out on it, actually. But like you said, we're not going to look at the past there. Let's move on from that. Welcome back to St. John's this year. How's it feel to be back?
Thank you. It's been great. I love it here. I came up during the summer for a week to visit. Like I said, I enjoy my time here in St. John's. I love the people here. I love the restaurants here. Um, it's a great place to be, and it's really like, it's my second home during the season. So I enjoyed my time here, and so much that I wanted to come back.
What are the similarities from here to Boston? Because there's quite a few from what we know with the Irish connection for sure, but outside of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, obviously Boston being right in the water, St. John's being right in the water. The weather is typically the same. We get lots of wind and lots of snow in Boston. Um, there's a lot of similarities. The one glaring one, people aren't as nice in Boston. I can walk across the street here and people stop their cars. You do that in Boston, you're gonna get run over. But I just think there's a lot of similarities with the Irish connections, like you said. The cobblestone streets, just the history of older cities. But no, there's a lot of similarities between home in Boston and home here in St. John's.
You did a lot of traveling this summer, not just here, but I knew you were also in Vegas, and then you did a lot of recruiting. Your role did shift this summer, though. Chat a little bit about that, and I guess the extra things you had to take on, really.
Yeah, I think when the season ended, Doug and I kind of took a little bit of time off and apart from each other. It was needed after a long season being together, and just kind of to regroup and refresh. And we went like 2 weeks just with a few texts here or there, but not really talking about basketball, just talking about life. And then when things started kind of picking up in June with him potentially being the head coach and him wanting me back, that's when we started really getting down to the nitty gritty of it all, and talking numbers and players and what our vision was for the year and things like that. So yeah, my role changed. Obviously last year Doug was the head assistant. This year I'm, the head assistant, only assistant. So the role switched. But yeah, we did a ton of traveling this summer, saw as much basketball as we could. It was nice this year to have that time as opposed to last year when the season was kind of put together so quickly and we lost the whole summer. But no, it was nice to get together and go watch, you know, these tryouts and these combines and go to NBA Summer League and see all these players that we tried to identify and recruit to come here. So it was a great summer and it led us to where we are now.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the roles you and Doug played, because last year there were three of you. You had Dunlap, you had Doug, and you had yourself. And this year it's just the two of you. So was there, I guess, any talk of bringing somebody else in there, or you guys were okay with just being the duo?
Yeah, I mean, we have Glenn Sully here, who's a volunteer assistant coach. We also have Stu Julius, who lives in Kitchener, Ontario. Stu, we call him OG Stu. He's an older guy. He's been around forever. He knows the league really well. And he's one of Doug's mentors. So, as Doug being the head coach was able to kind of pick his staff, Stu's came up for our December home series. He's going to come up again in March and for the playoffs. But, Stu sends us scouting reports on the teams in Ontario. Also sends us scouts on the Maritime Province teams a couple days before the games, but he's actually not here. But we're in constant communication with Stu. Sully does a great job on staff with us here, just kind of helping with the odds and ends of things and keeping some stuff on the bench for us. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, on the road, it's just the two of us and our trainer Kevin Parfrey. So it's tough at times when it's just the two of you and your ideas kind of get stale and you're always trying to kind of find new things to incorporate with the teams. But um, it was tough. But I wouldn't want to be with anybody else and work for anybody else. So it's been great. It's been a great year.
You guys have spent a lot of time on the road, so it's been a lot of just you and Doug and the team. How has that helped with the chemistry and building this team here?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're young, right? Doug's 30, I'm 27. Some of the guys in the team are older than both of us. So, at times you're trying to figure out how to not be their quote unquote friends and be their coaches, but at that same time you need to, love them and console them when they're down and things like that. So, um, we've tried to do the best we can to play both roles, coach and friend. Um, but I think we've done a really good job to this point. We've got really good guys. That was, the main recruiting point for us this summer was to bring in high character guys who fit what we want to do here in St. John's, who can represent the community well, both on and off the court, and mainly who aren't going to be any trouble. Some of the times in this league, you get guys that are here for a reason and have been in trouble in the past or have a deficiency in their game. We try to identify the 12 best players on the court, but also the 12 best players off the court who, like I said, are going to represent the community well.
In terms of recruiting, you've been crucial in pulling in some of these big guys, literally big guys. Satnam Singh being one of them. How did that all come together?
So I was in the NBA G League for 2 seasons, and Satnam spent my last year. I was with the Celtics D League team, the Maine Red Claws, and Satnam was with the Dallas Mavericks D League team, the Texas Legends. So I knew we played against him twice throughout the year, um, and then during the summer, the basketball community is very small. I'll text somebody, and then 2 minutes later, I'll have his agent's number. So I reached out to a friend of mine who was with the Texas Legends at the time. I said, "Hey, we're looking to bring Satnam in." I asked all the litany of questions I have. How is he as a person? How is he understanding plays? How is he for you in the community? Does he love basketball? Does he love to win? Does he hate to lose? Et cetera, et cetera. Kind of the questions that Doug and I put together during the summer. Um, and got his agent's contact information. This started back in July. So we got the agent's contact information, went back and forth with the agent regarding some numbers regarding salary. Then obviously had to get the okay from ownership. They okayed it. And then we were able to sign Satnam in the middle of August, I believe, to a contract for the year. And then obviously his immigration issues kind of hurt us with getting him here on time, but we were able to, kind of jump over all those hurdles and got it done.
What has he been like in the addition to the team here then?
He's been great. I mean, he's a great kid. People forget because he's 7'2", 300 pounds. He's 23 years old, like just turned 23 years old. And Doug and I have kind of talked to him throughout the year that his best basketball is still ahead of him. And at times he's not playing much for us, but he's had great weeks of practice. But we're trying to teach him and have him use this year so that in 3 or 4 years he's playing his best basketball. Um, the game is fast in this league. It's extremely athletic, extremely up and down, and at times he struggles with that. But what he is, he's a great teammate. Never gets in his feelings. Never pouts. He's always the first one off the bench, giving guys high fives, waving a towel. Um, and like I said, he's just been overall great, and he's teaching us a little bit about his culture in India, and we bring him to community events, and the city loves him. Um, he's been great. I have all good things to say about him.
It seems like that's kind of just the way the team is this year, like you guys said, bringing in character guys. One relationship there though is Glenn Davis and Satnam. We've heard a lot
Right.
about that, and we're seeing parts of Glenn's game now in Satnam in terms of below the net. Can you speak to their relationship a little bit?
Yeah, so when we brought Glenn in, that was the first guy when we picked him up at the airport. That was the first person he mentioned. He said, "You guys have Satnam Singh in your team?" We said, "We do." And when Satnam was at IMG Academy in Florida, Glenn went down there during an off season to train, and they were supposed to be roommates at the IMG Academy, but Satnam was late to arrive, so Glenn had his own room, which he was excited about. But he spent the whole summer down in Florida training at the same high school that Satnam went to, so they had a relationship prior. Obviously, I never met, but he knew the name. So when he came up here, that was like I said, the first guy I asked about. But yeah, I mean, Glenn, Glenn's a vet, played 9 years in the NBA, and he's kind of taken on the role of rookie, veteran, rookie with Satnam. They work together every day at practice. They work together, as you guys can see on the court pregame. And he's the most vocal advocate to get Satnam in the game on the bench. So At times, we're trying to take it slow with him, but no, he's been great, and just been great with Satnam as a teacher and a leader, and we appreciate that.
Talking to this teaching and learning, last night, not the outcome you guys wanted, things hopefully turning around tomorrow. What is said after a game like that, not just from the coaching staff, but from the players individually?
Yeah, it's tough. Like, you get beat by 34 points on your home court. It's embarrassing. That's not who we are as a team. I was talking to Logan Stutz today, the head coach of Sudbury, and he said, Halifax beat us by 30 2 weeks ago, and we haven't lost since. So it's been the best thing for us as a team. We had a great film session today. Guys spoke up in the film session, and we kind of addressed what we thought the issues were in the game. But you look at it in the third quarter, you hold the team in a professional basketball game to 7 points. And realistically, they got four of those at the free throw line. So they made one field goal in the third quarter over 12 minutes. That's testament to our guys, not giving up and coming out after halftime. And, they really did a great job. But like I said, that's not who we are. My college coach at St. Bonaventure always used to say, over a 40-game season, 30 times you're going to play who you are. That's the team you are for 30 games. 5 games you're going to play above who you are, and 5 games you're going to lay an egg. And we're going to chalk that one up. That was one that we laid an egg, and like I said, that's not who we are. We're disappointed in our effort, and it's unfortunate that we had to do it on our home court. The fans deserve better, and they'll get a better effort tomorrow night out of us.
What is it about Halifax that it just in December, your guys' 2 losses
Right.
were Halifax, but other than that, the team has everything going right.
Yeah, we said before the game, they're the only team we haven't beat that we played this year. We're 0-3 against them. Mike Leslie does a really good job. It's a well-run organization. They just have tough players. They've got, a bunch of guys who um, it's a tough scout for us and for our guys. They don't have quote unquote shooters. So we're kind of telling our guys to sag off and play, play in the paint and pack the paint and dare them to shoot. And at times, like you say, it's professional basketball. You're gonna tell a guy, all right, shoot a three. It's tough for our guys at times. But they bullied us last night. I mean, they took it to us, they killed us on the glass. Um, it's just they played tougher than us, and I thought the turning point of our season in December when we went on that little bit of run in December and January was when we came all the way back from, that deficit in Halifax, and hopefully we can do the same thing and catapult us to, a couple victories here in end of January, early February.
I'm gonna take a step back here. You mentioned previously here about the fans and they deserve more, but you guys have brought so much to this community. What is the feeling when you step out there and you see that the place is packed?
Yeah, I mean, Doug and I are getting a little bit, I guess we could say we're taking advantage of it a little bit. I'll text Devin in our front office and say, what numbers are we at for today's home game? It'll be like 2,900. Like, we got to get 500 people are going to walk up to the game. It'll be 3,600. I mean, you get 3,600 on a Tuesday night, on a Thursday night midweek game. Teams on the road don't even get that on the weekends. So we're we got to take a step back and realize how lucky we are to have that. The atmosphere in here is always great. I've said it, throughout my time here. This is the best atmosphere in the whole league. We're fortunate to have the fan support that we have. We're lucky to have it, and we don't take it for granted. But um, every time we walk in, I mean, I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying this, but you have guys in the other team, during warmups, they'll come up and whisper, "Man, like next year, like I want to come, to St. John's next year." So it happens every time we warm up in mile one. Guys will whisper to you at half court, like, "Wow, you guys are doing it right here. You're doing the right thing," and that's testament from everybody in the ownership to the front office to the staff at mile one to all the way down to the ball boys. So we do it right here in St. John's, and I think it's kind of put a lot of these teams in the league on notice that they need to step up their games on the road as well.
Does it make it easier to recruit then this summer, knowing that you have such a loyal fan base here?
Yeah, I mean, guys, you go to some of these cities and you're playing in front of 800 to 1,000 fans, and you've got to, that's what we talk about in the locker room. You've got to create your own energy. Here, you can come out a little bit flat, and you're going to have 3,500, 4,000, 5,000 fans, cheering for you. And that energy, we hear it in the locker room pregame. We come in the locker room about 10 minutes left on the game clock on the jumbotron during warmups, and you can start to hear people clapping. Our locker room's right there, so you can kind of hear people stomping on their feet and clapping. You can hear the music, you can hear the announcer, you can hear the DJ, all that stuff. And our guys feed off that. And we have 10, 11 more home games left. And um, I just continue to ask fans come out and support us. And it's a great night out. And like I said, last night isn't a testament of who we are. Um, you guys deserve better than that, and you're going to get better than that for these next 11 home games.
The fans know that. I mean, you guys in your inaugural season, gave us more than I think we ever anticipated, and then you proved that basketball is in St. John's, and St. John's is a basketball city, and no matter what anybody says, multi-sports, it's across the board, and I see the support you guys give the Growlers, and they give it back, and it's everywhere here. And speaking to all this support, because it's one name you've mentioned over and over, and it's not just because he's your head coach. It's Doug.
Yeah.
You guys, it's this bromance. I'm calling it because it is what it is. Yeah. What is it like to have a friend like that, but also I guess kind of be your boss a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's my guy, right? Like we got into a little bit after the game yesterday, like yelling and screaming at each other, but we needed that. We've done that a few times this year where we'll get after it a little bit, but 30 seconds later, I walk in there, dap him up, and he's like, "You good?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. You good?" So we're good. So yeah, it's my guy. I mean, I'm fortunate enough that he, brought me back up here. He didn't have to do that. He could have brought up a lot of other guys. He's got a lot of people in his contacts. Um, but no, that's my guy. He's one of my best friends. I think we work really well together. We have a good, um, compatibility with each other and with the rest of the team. So yeah, I'm fortunate to be up here, and like you said, at times I've got to realize he is the head coach and he is my boss. But at times he's also, my best friend, and we do text about other things other than basketball. So we do have a life outside of basketball that we talk about. So um, no, I enjoy that, and it's nice to be up here with somebody you can trust and be around.
We seem to do this podcast at the same time every year. So is he your Valentine's date this year?
Yeah, no Valentine's date for me this year. It's not Doug. His girlfriend's gonna come to Halifax next weekend, so he'll have his Valentine's date. But I'm still, still looking for one. So
You're not gonna third wheel?
I'm not gonna third wheel. His girlfriend's not out here with him this year, so I'm gonna let them have their time together, enjoy some romantic dinners, maybe send him a bottle of wine or something up to the room. But I'm not I'm not gonna third wheel this time.
How nice of you.
The Edge Insider Podcast. We'll be right back.
The St. John's Edge are back in action tonight as the Halifax Hurricanes make their first trip to Mile 1 this season. Satnam Singh, Glenn Big Baby Davis, and Carl English are ready to defend the Rock. Get your tickets by calling 576-7657 or online at mile1center.com.
Welcome back to the Edge Insider Podcast.
You guys have spent a lot of the season on the road, and it's not just small stretches here and there. They're long stretches, and that's coming around here again. What are you guys anticipating heading into this next stretch here?
Yeah, I think we leave Sunday. We're gone for 11 days, where we play 5 games in 11 days. Come back, play 2 home games against Windsor, and then go right back on the road again. So I think we're looking at the other day. We're on the road for 20 of the 27 or 28 days in February this year. So I love being on the road. One, you don't have to go grocery shopping, so there's always food available. Um, but no, it's nice to be on the road. All you really have to worry about is basketball. You get to bond with the guys. You're having fun on the bus. You're watching movies on the bus. It's long travel. I mean, we had it in early January with some really bad weather. I haven't checked the weather for this upcoming road trip, but I'm hoping that we're not going to have any snowstorms. But the travel's tough. I mean, you're flying into Halifax, you're bussing. We go bus to Cape Breton, bus to PEI, then bus to Halifax, bus to Moncton, bus to St. John, then fly to PEI or fly to Halifax, and then come back and play Windsor the next night. So the travel's tough, but like I said, that was another thing we putting out on recruiting in the summer was bringing in tough-minded guys who we don't want guys to make excuses. Excuses don't exist in our locker room. My bads get you beat, things like that. So we have all these little sayings, but um, no, I love being on the road. The guys like being on the road. I was talking to Jared Nickens actually, and he's like, "Man, I sleep better on the road than I do at home. My bed's way comfier on the road than it is at home." So, um,
that because you're on the road more than you're home,
Yeah,
though?
it might be. Yeah, I mean, we're looking forward to March. We've got 8 home games, can really get going. But we've always wanted to take care of home court, steal a couple wins on the road. Our goal, we play 20 games on the road. We wanted to obviously be above 500. So um, I'm blanking on our record on the road right now, but we want to be above 500. I think we are right now. So just continue to play well on the road and continue to be those road warriors that we can be.
That's one of the things I think people assume that you fly everywhere, that it's, Halifax, and then you fly to Cape
Yeah.
Breton and then Moncton and all these, but you take the bus. So
Yeah.
you got to burn a lot of hours on the bus. What do you do?
Yeah, I wish we flew everywhere. That's the old college life where you're flying in the night before the game, flying in or flying right after the game, and you're back in your bed by 1 or 2 a.m. But no, we just fly into Halifax, and then we're on a bus. It's a 52 passenger coach bus, so it's big. The guys can lay out. Um, I made a mistake in the last road trip of forgetting the DVDs, so Big Baby.
Was there a big penalty for that?
There was. Big Baby wasn't very happy about that, so I had to make a quick detour. I was responsible to buy the DVDs, so bought a bunch of movies, and we watch movies, we listen to music. Guys sleep, um, Netflix on their phones, things like that. So, um,
What's the go-to DVD then that you had to go and pick up?
I think we watched on the last one. We watched Day After Tomorrow, Straight Outta Compton, Coming to America. Um, the Town, I always try to shift to like Boston movies of like Mark Wahlberg and Matt Damon and things like that. I think I got Good Will Hunting on there as well. Um, classic. So some of the guys don't like my DVD picks, but that's what you get when you buy the DVDs. You can pick what you want. So
But no cliche basketball movies in there, no Coach Carter, none of
we're
that.
no, the guys don't. When we're on the bus, we don't want to watch or talk about basketball. We just kind of want to relax and have some fun. So
Die Hard's relaxing.
yeah, well, it's all right. I mean, I don't know who's responsible. I might make maybe Jared Nickens, who's our only rookie right now, responsible for bringing the DVDs on this next road trip. So, like I said, if you're the responsible for picking them, you can pick whatever you want, and the guys have to live with it. So.
Do you get scrutinized for it though? I mean, it's like being the DJ in the locker room. That's a dangerous position to be in.
It's a big task. I take responsibility for it. I think Obi picked I brought like 12 movies on the last trip, and Obi picked one of them, and the guys were just crushing him for the movie he picked to watch at that time. I think it was right after we beat Moncton, and like that come from behind win where we played really well, held them to 12 points in the fourth quarter. Guys were all hyped up. We're listening to music for like the first half hour on the bus, all fired up. And then Obi picked like some sad. It was like I forget the name of the movie. It was like a romantic comedy. And the guy's like, "What are you doing? Why are you picking this movie?" So they were crushing him a little bit on that, but that just goes to show you Obi Oleka's got a little bit of a softer side. So.
Well, that wraps it up for this week's edition of the Edge Insider Podcast. Big thank you to Associate Head Coach Steve Marcus. We'll catch you next time when the Reg are back at home.
Thanks for listening to the Edge Insider Podcast.